Your child is dressed for school. The bag is packed. Breakfast is finished. And then they stop. My stomach hurts. I can't do this. I'm not going. What you do next matters. Because when a child is struggling to go to school, the goal is not simply to win the morning battle. The goal is to understand what is making school feel impossible and help them take the next manageable step. School refusal can look like defiance from the outside, but often, something more complicated is happening underneath. A child may be dealing with anxiety, separation fears, social difficulties, academic pressure, sensory overload, bullying, uncertainty, or several problems at the same time. School refusal is not itself a diagnosis. It describes a pattern of difficulty attending or remaining at school. In this video, we will look at 5 practical things parents can do when a child says, "I can't go to school." The first mistake is focusing only on the visible behavior. Your child is crying. They are moving slowly. They are refusing to get dressed. They are saying they feel sick. The natural question is, why won't you go? But that is not always the most useful question. Try asking, what feels hardest about school today? Or make it even more specific. Is the difficult part leaving home? Walking into school? Being in the classroom? Schoolwork? Lunch? Other children? Something else? A stressed child may genuinely struggle to explain what is happening, so instead of demanding a complete explanation, help them narrow the problem down. School avoidance can have very different underlying causes, and the solution depends on what the actual barrier is. Behavior is information. Look underneath it. Anxiety tends to grow when a situation feels unpredictable, so make the next part of the day easier to understand. Instead of saying, "Everything will be fine," try giving your child concrete information. First, we'll drive to school. Then I'll walk with you to the entrance. Your teacher will meet you there. After that, you'll go to your first lesson. Think, now, next, then. Not the entire school week, not even the entire day, just the next manageable sequence. This does not remove every difficulty. It reduces unnecessary uncertainty. And sometimes, that is enough to make the next step possible. This is one of the hardest balances for parents. If your child is genuinely distressed, forcing them through overwhelming anxiety can make things worse. But removing every difficult situation immediately can also strengthen avoidance. Why? Because avoiding the frightening situation usually produces immediate relief. And the brain learns, avoidance made me feel better. That can make the same situation even harder the next time. This is why the goal is usually not, make the anxiety disappear first. A better question is, what level of participation is manageable today? That might mean entering the building with support, attending one important lesson, meeting a trusted adult before class, using a quieter entrance, or following a gradual return plan that has been agreed with the school. The exact plan will depend on the child and the situation. Small steps still count. The objective is safe, sustainable re-engagement, not winning a confrontation at the front door. Do not wait until attendance has completely broken down before talking to the school. Tell them what you are seeing. Be specific. For example, my child becomes extremely anxious on Sunday evening. They can get to the school gate but struggle to enter. They are particularly worried about lunchtime. They say the classroom feels overwhelming. Ask the school what they are observing too. The problem may look very different at home and at school. Then, identify 1 or 2 adults your child can reliably approach: a teacher, a pastoral lead, a counselor, a special educational needs professional, or another trusted member of staff. The important point is consistency. Your child should know, if things become difficult, this is who I go to. School and family do not need 2 separate plans. They need one workable plan that the child can understand. Not every difficult school morning means school refusal. Children sometimes worry about school. They sometimes want to stay home. They sometimes have bad days. But pay attention when the difficulty becomes persistent or increasingly disruptive. For example, school attendance is falling. Physical symptoms regularly appear before school. Distress is becoming intense. Your child is increasingly isolated. The problem is affecting sleep or everyday functioning. Or attempts to return to school repeatedly fail. At that point, this is no longer simply a difficult morning routine. It deserves a more systematic assessment. Depending on where you live and what is happening, that might involve your child's school, doctor, psychologist, mental health professional, educational psychologist, or another appropriate specialist. Persistent school refusal can occur alongside several emotional, developmental, social, or behavioral difficulties. Identifying the underlying factors matters. And this brings us to resilience. Resilience does not mean teaching a child to ignore fear, and it does not mean expecting them to handle everything alone. Resilience develops when children learn three things. This is difficult. I have support. There is something I can do next. That last part is especially important. Not, how do I survive the entire school year? But, what is my next manageable step? That is micro-resilience, small moments of successful coping that gradually build a larger sense of capability. So when your child says, I can't go to school, do not begin with the battle. Begin with the barrier. Reduce uncertainty. Protect manageable participation. Work with the school. And get additional support when the problem persists. If you are helping a child build resilience around school, you will find more practical resources from Resilience in Practice in the description below. And if school mornings are difficult right now, watch the next video on back-to-school anxiety.